with her hard riding. Quick shooting. And suspense.
Well, sir, the Apache kid drew on me. But your old grandpa was too fast for him. Before you could say Doc Holliday, I slapped leather and he dropped.
Still spinning those tall tales, eh, Si?
You tend to your own business, Ed. Go on writing, Tagg. Annie Oakley, Lofty, and me rounded up the rest of the gang and took 'em to the Grjngo. We'll tell you more in my next letter. And just sign that, your loving grandpa.
How do you spell Grjngo, Mr. Cunningham?
Jail. It's the same thing. You really figure that your grandson back east believes all that hogwash, Si?
Why, of course he believes it. He thinks his grandpa's a hero. You see, the boy's an orphan. And I'm just telling him these things so he'll have something to be proud of. You understand, don't you, Tagg?
I think so, Mr. Crawford. But what if Tim finds out?
Why, he can't find out. Anyway, it ain't my fault that I'm no gunfighter. It's circumstances that makes a hero out of a man. What I told the boy could have happened.
Well, wouldn't he be just as proud to know you were a prospector, digging for gold and things?
I got more gold in my teeth than I ever took out of the ground. That's why I can't have the boy with me, where he belongs.
If he was with you, he'd know you can't even handle a gun.
What are you talking about? Let me have that gun of yours.
Careful now, Si. Don't shoot your foot off.
Yes, sir. All I need is a good gun in my hand. And any outlaw'd be scared so bad, he'd give up without a fight. It's just because I ain't never had a chance to prove it, that's all. Why, if I was facing down some sidewinder, I'd grab my gun and
All right, don't move any of you.
Si, do something.
You drop that gun or you'll be a dead man, Pop.
Well, what happened to all that big talk of yours? Why did you shoot?
I'm sorry, Ed. I don't know what come over me. I just couldn't seem to move.
You're yellow, that's all. A hero? That's a big lie.
What happened, Tagg?
3 outlaws robbed the telegraph office and rode out of town that way.
I had a gun in my hand. Could have stopped them.
The telegrapher's okay, Annie. Just banged up a little.
Thanks, Ed. Come on, Lofty. We'll try and pick up their trail.
Had them right in my sight, I did. I gotta make up for it. I gotta do something. Hold on a minute. I'm going with you.
Oh, you're gonna do no such thing, Si. This is our job.
But I got to show you. I got to prove it. I ain't afraid.
We don't think you're afraid, Si. And taking foolish chances with other people's lives doesn't prove anything.
We're on the right trail, Annie. We'll split up here and meet at the camp. They split up here.
Look, Lofty.
right, mister. Off your horse.
Tagg, what's the matter with Mr. Crawford?
Well, I don't know. Probably still worrying about not being a hero, I guess.
You'll get over it, Annie.
Why don't you try and cheer him up, Lofton? I'll take him inside and lock him up.
All right. I'll do what I can. Don't let this thing get the best of your side. Nobody's gonna blame you for not taking foolish chances.
I'm just a worthless old man.
Ah, it's nonsense. But take that grandson of yours. He's got plenty to be proud of having you for a grandfather.
He won't be proud no longer.
Well, this ought to make you happy, Si. Boys due in on this afternoon stage. You just get this?
It must have been delayed. I never thought the boy's guardian would let him come. It's a big mistake.
What do you mean?
Now he's gonna know. He's gonna find out that his old grandpa is nothing but a liar. He won't never be the same after that.
You'll get over it, Si. Why, in a couple of days, you'll forget all about what you told him. Kids are like that.
Not this one, Deputy. You see, my grandson ain't never had much to be happy about. His folks died when he was a baby. Well, his life's been pretty dull. I can tell by his letters. And believing that his old grandpa was a big lawman, about all that ever mattered to him. It's gonna be a terrible blow when he finds out the truth.
Won't be as bad as you think, Si. Now, look, you better get yourself spruced up. My boy will be in here in an hour or so.
Putting on a clean face won't make me what I ain't, Lofty. You can't wash off what's inside.
Si,
It's no use, Deputy. You go on about your business. In a little while, it'll all be over.
I'll see you later, Si.
No use, Lofty. He's not going to tell us anything.
Now you're getting smart, lady. Why don't you wise up too, Deputy?
We'll get your pals anyway, wise guy.
The stage is coming in, Annie. Mr. Crawford, the stage is coming in.
Come inside.
Yes, I have to, don't I? Right now, I wish a bolt of lightning would strike me. Well, it's good to see you, Tim. My, you've grown up into a fine young man.
Well, he takes after his grandfather, Si.
Tim, this is Lofty Craig.
Hello, Tim.
Hi.
I'm Annie Oakley, and this is my little brother, Tagg.
Hello. I've heard lots about you. Grandpa told me about you in all his letters.
Yeah, that's what I mean to tell you, Tim. I guess you're going to be...
Tim, Tagg has an extra bed in his room, and if it's all right with your grandfather, we'd love to have you stay with us.
Oh, thanks, Annie. Not much room out at the digging.
That'll be swell. I'll bet you're awful proud to work with my grandpa, him being such a famous gunfighter and all.
You're right, Tim. We're awful proud to work with Si. Why, you know that your grandfather and Lofty and I have been through an awful lot together.
I don't know what we'd have done without your grandfather, Tim.
Now I've heard everything.
What's that man laughing about? Don't worry about him.
Lay off, Cunningham.
Why, this is the funniest.
Keep your mouth closed.
Hey, what are you doing?
Look, give Si a break, will you, for the kid's sake?
Why, that old longhorn, he ain't even...
Maybe I should have said please.
Sure, Deputy. Being as you put it that way.
Good. Spread a word around town. Make sure nobody else says anything. You understand?
Sure.
Golly, Deputy Craig, what was that all about? Is that man some kind of crook or something?
No, really, Tim. We just don't seem to see eye to eye about a couple things. I'll get your suitcase and take it over to the sheriff's office.
Tim, we'll get a bite to eat, and then I'll show you around the town a bit.
Say, I just noticed. You aren't wearing any guns.
No, well, that's because...
Tim, they're over at the office. You'll see them later on.
Golly, Grandpa, I'm the lucky one. And maybe before I leave, I'll get to see you in action.
Well, you never can tell, boy. Never can tell. that building there, that's the Diablo Bank.
Isn't that where you had a gunfight with the Doyle gang?
Yeah, that's right, Tim. And when the smoke cleared away, the last of the Doyles are laying right there on the street.
Weren't you even scared a little bit, Grandpa?
Well, man don't have much time to be afraid. It's either them or me. Well, that's about it, I guess. This town ain't much for size. But I reckon Diablo's about the best town in the world for a man to live in.
I guess the people in Diablo think you're the bravest man alive.
Well, I don't know about that. Oh, say, how'd you like to go out and see my diggings at the mining camp?
That'd be great.
All right, you just get on behind me here on the Nervy, and we'll be out there in no time at all, hardly. Yes, sir.
How come you don't have a real horse, Grandpa, like the cowboys?
Old Minerva here is better than any old horse. She won't break no speed records. But when the going gets tough, I can count on her.
Gosh, Grandpa, I didn't even know you were digging for gold, too.
Oh, that's just a hobby, Tim. Just for relaxation when I'm all worn out from catching outlaws.
Are you real rich, Grandpa? Do you have lots of gold?
Well, no, Tim. I ain't rich in the way you mean. But having you here with me and knowing I got a lot of good friends in town, why, them's the things that really count. And in that way, well, I guess I'm just about the richest man alive. Now, you get on the steps there and climb up behind me, and we'll get back into town.
Do I look like a real cowboy, Tagg? You sure do, Tim.
That boy's born to the saddle, he is. Just like his old grandpa.
How am I doing, Grandpa? It's my first time, and I'm not even scared.
You're mighty brave, boy. Keep it up.
Hey!
Maybe someday he'll be something I've always wanted to be. A real hero. Not just a make-believe one.
Good luck, Annie. Sure hope that tip you got on those prisoners is right.
So do we, Tagg. All set, Lofty?
Keep a close eye on things here, Si.
Leave it to me, Deputy.
How come you're not going with them, Grandpa? They'll need you, won't they?
Oh, they can handle this job, boy. There's only 2 outlaws.
Your grandpa's gonna look after things here, Tim. That's mighty important.
Somebody's got to watch the prisoner. Yeah, I guess I didn't think of that.
Well, you youngsters come on inside, and I'll tell you about the time that I tangled with Butch Cassidy and his wild bunch.
Told you they'd be leaving town. Letting that rancher spot us worked just like I thought.
We'll never have a better chance to break Dave out of jail.
Sheriff called off the posse, but I wouldn't quit. I knew somehow that the Cassidy bunch was close by. And in that night, as I was laying by the campfire, I heard a voice.
Don't move, any of you.
You all right, Dave?
Sure, except I'm sick of hearing this old man's story.
Hey, I guess you never heard about Clyde Cross. Shut up.
Grandpa, are you going to let him talk to you like that?
Well,
Do something, Grandpa.
There ain't much you can do, Sonny, unless he wants a hole in his head.
I'm not afraid of you, mister.
Ow! Hey, you can't hit that boy that way.
Shut up.
Are you all right, boy?
Sure, I'm okay. We're heading south. I'll ride out and get Annie and Lofty. How come you didn't stop him, Grandpa? You were standing right next to your gun.
Well, I'm sorry, Tim.
You didn't even try.
Well, they was all armed. There wasn't much I could do.
You weren't afraid, were you?
Well, of course not. It's just that I had you youngsters to think about. Taking foolish chances with other people's lives don't prove nothing.
I guess not.
Why, you see, if it were just me that was in danger, that's one thing. But you and Tagg, that's another.
Then you better get after those outlaws. You can capture them, can't you?
Oh, well, sure I can.
I'll get your gun.
Now, wait a minute, Tim.
But those fellas will get away, Grandpa. You've got to get after them right away.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Boy, oh boy. I've been wanting to see how you look with your gun on. Go get them, Grandpa. Just like you got all those other outlaws you wrote me about.
Your turn tootin', I'll get them. Ain't no sideminder going to put anything over on Cy Crawford. Unhitch Minerva, boy.
Yes, sir. Minerva's all ready.
Good, boy, good.
Good luck, Grandpa.
No luck, Annie. Want to try the rimrock area?
Oh, we might as well.
What's wrong, Tagg?
Those two gunmen broke their pal out of jail.
Was anyone hurt?
No, they pushed Mr. Crawford around a little, but he wasn't hurt. Only his feelings.
What do you mean?
Well, gosh, Tim was there, and he expected his grandpa to stop the jailbreak. You know, like they talked about doing in some of his letters.
Looks like Cy's talk finally caught up with him, eh?
Sure does, Lofty. I'm just afraid he might be darn fool enough to try and make it come true. Tim, where's your grandfather?
He got on Minerva and rode after those outlaws. He's gonna capture them all, single-handed.
Oh, no.
Minerva's track shouldn't be too hard to follow, Annie. Maybe we can catch Cy before he runs into trouble.
There are only 3 bandits. Do you think Grandpa will need help?
He might, Tim. He just might.
Hey, Tagg, let's go out after them.
I don't think we'd better, Tim. Annie wouldn't like it.
Oh, she won't mind. I want to see my grandpop in action.
You better stay here.
You can, but I'm going out there. I may never have this chance again. Okay if I take Pixie?
Never mind. I'll go along, but don't say I didn't warn you.
Ooh, we need supplies. Let's see what's in that shack. Come on, hurry up.
Why, those no good sidewinders. On top of everything else, they're stealing my grub.
Hurry up and mount up. Let's get out of here.
Nobody ain't going nowhere. Just stay right there. Now just drop them shooting irons and nobody will get hurt.
Well, how do you like that? Captured by the great Cy Crawford himself.
You better watch out, old man. That gun might go off.
You bet your sweet life it might. You just climb down off of that cayuse.
Sure, Pop, sure.
Get him, Lofty. I'll keep him pinned down. doing here?
I came to see Grandpa in action.
I tried to stop him, sis, but he just wouldn't listen.
Say, where is Grandpa?
He's over in those rocks pinned down.
Holy cow, why doesn't he do something? Come on, Grandpa, go get him.
Why, Crawford, you're a good-for-nothing old man. You talked yourself right into having to commit suicide.
Let's get out of here.
Grandpa, he's escaping. Get him. Boy, oh boy, did you see that? Did you see what my grandpa did?
I think I did.
One shot, Crawford. Come on, let's get over there.
Maybe you Mavericks will learn your lesson someday.
It looks like Si's got things all wrapped up here.
He sure has, Lofty.
You should have seen him, Lofty. Drop that fellow with one shot.
That's right, he did.
You really showed him, Grandpa.
Oh, there wasn't nothing to it. Hey, you two mount up. We got a nice, cozy cell waiting for you and the Who's Gal. I'm getting a mite too old for these shenanigans. I'm hanging up my gun for good. I'm gonna leave the peacemaking to younger folks, like you, Annie, and Lofty.
Well, after what you've been through, Si, you deserve a good rest, but we're sure gonna miss your help.
Boy, oh boy. Just wait till I tell the fellows back east. Just wait.
Now, wait a minute. Don't you start telling any tall tales. That can get a man into a heap of trouble.
Oh, yes, sir.
You just stick to the plain and simple truth, like I'm gonna do from this minute on, so help me.
Bullseye! Annie Oakley hits the entertainment bullseye every week with her hard riding. Straight shooting. And suspense.
Right a minute!
Hold it.
Wonderful.
Come on, Tiger. Easy now, fellas. Come on, Tiger.
Nice work!
Intermountain Rodeo. Thrills, spills, prize money. Diablo Fairgrounds. Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Gosh, Lofty, I sure wish I could ride like that.
There's nothing to it, Della. All you have to do is spend 8 years practicing for 8 hours a day. It's real simple.
Can you picture my father letting me do anything away from him, even for 2 hours a day? Unless it was teaching Sunday school.
You should be glad your father loves you so much he wants to protect you from anything which might hurt you.
Well, if he does love me, he's got a mighty funny way of showing it.
Haven't we all? Right now, Tagg thinks Annie's a regular she-male tyrant because she told him that if he wanted to buy uniforms for his baseball team, he'd have to work for him himself.
I'll say it's work. 50 cents for putting up a whole 100 of these.
What events you entered in, Annie?
Just one this year. Trick riding the last day. You going?
Well, I don't know. Not that I wouldn't like to.
Some real top hands in that show, Della. Some of the best in the state. There's Tex McCauley and Larry Johnson, young Dan Carter.
Annie, if I meet you in the morning, will you take me to the rodeo with you?
It'll be my pleasure.
Thanks, Annie. Bye.
Bye. Tagg, you're supposed to be working.
Big deal. Wear out $1 worth of shoe leather just so as I can earn 50 cents.
Now, that Della Forsythe's grown into a real pretty young lady.
She sure has, Lofty. Won't be long before some young man will come along and Mr. Forsythe's daughter will be Mrs. somebody or other.
You better not tell him.
You two seen my daughter anywhere?
She left here not over a minute ago, Ab.
Told her to wait for me outside the blacksmith shop. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that girl. Fun, that's all she ever thinks of. Come on, get up.
I don't believe it.
I'd almost given up hope ever seeing you again.
Oh, Father and oh, Father, you will from now on.
I'm not here. I'll see you tomorrow. Annie, have you seen my papa? I've been looking all over for him.
Have we? I'll teach you to hang around rodeo shows.
Mr. Forsythe, Della's been looking for you.
If she'd stayed where she's supposed to, she'd have had no trouble finding me.
But, Papa,
Never mind the buts. This time, you're going home and staying there.
Lofty, when the Forsythes first moved to town, didn't we hear some stories about Ab's wife and a rodeo?
Well, they weren't just stories, honey. She actually left him and joined a rodeo. Knowing Ab, it's not hard to believe.
You mean he treated her just like he does Della? Everything had to be his way with no concern for anyone else's feelings?
Apparently so. Anyway, when this rodeo hit town, it was owned by the husband of a woman she knew. She just left Ab and joined up.
Then what?
Well, then about 3 weeks later, there was an accident. She was killed.
Mm. Well, that explains a lot. But it still doesn't make him right in the way he's bringing up his daughter.
You going someplace?
I'm going out to tell Della I'm not taking her to the rodeo with me tomorrow.
I think you're being wise, Annie. Remember that old saying about innocent bystanders?
I just hope Della does, too.
She is? What do you want to see her about, may I ask?
Well, I told her I'd take her to the rodeo with me tomorrow.
You do no such thing. Take a girl that age to see a lot of saddle tramps cavorting around because they're too shiftless and worthless to do an honest day's work? I should say not.
I'm competing in the rodeo, Mr. Forsythe. Does that make me worthless, too?
Of course not, Annie. I know you.
I see. But the others are all wrong because you don't happen to know them. Is that it?
I know them, all right. They're a shiftless lot with no more morals or ambition than a prairie dog's got wings.
The rodeo business has its bad apples, but so does any other. Storekeeping, ranchers, doctors, lawyers.
I'm not going to argue the matter, Miss Oakley.
Neither am I, Mr. Forsythe. I rode out here to tell Della I'm not taking her with me.
Hey, Annie, how about some lemonade? Friends and relatives, it's free.
Thanks just the same, Tagg, but I think you better save it for the cash customers. I tell you what, though, if you make more than $5 while the rodeo's in town, I'll match every dollar you make.
Gee, thanks, sis. But you don't have to do that.
I know. It's just why I want to. You know, I believe in trusting youngsters with responsibilities and letting them know you trust them.
Uh-oh. Looks like you got a little competition, boy.
How do you like that, Chubby? He copies everything I do. Oh, well, I don't care. Let him. Competition's the spice of life.
Get your ice cold lemonade. Lemonade, 5 cents. Come on, get it this hot day. Get your ice cold lemonade. Get your ice cold lemonade. Lemonade right there.
Annie. If I were in your boots, young lady, I'd skedaddle out of here before my father found me.
I'm 18 now. I'm of age, and I'm going to stay.
Well, if your father should catch you in the grandstand, he's liable to put on one of his scenes again.
Well, will you take me with you then, Annie? Please?
Well, at least that way I can keep an eye on you. Come on.
Tucson Carney riding dynamite.
That a halfway decent
Save
horse.
your alibis for someone else, Tucson. I saw what happened. You're getting so you couldn't ride a merry-go-round nag.
That's a fine way for a wife to talk after I almost get myself killed for you.
Well, don't get yourself killed for me, sweetheart. You haven't earned enough prize money lately to buy you a half-price funeral.
That's all you ever think about, isn't it? Money.
Yeah, especially since we haven't had any. Better go ask the boss for an advance.
Loco? Him give anybody an advance?
And he never will either if you don't go ask him.
Rush Harper riding Black Cloud.
Fresh made lemonade. Get it while it's cold. Only 3 cents now.
Step right up, folks. Get your lemonade. Only 2 cents a glass. Come and get it, folks. Call me first.
Right now. 1 cent. While it lasts. Come and get it.
Come and get it, folks. Ice cold lemonade. 6 cups for nickels. Come and get it, folks.
Montana Jake Williams on Grjngo.
Sorry?
Clumsy brat.
Gosh, I said I was sorry.
You got the brains of a donkey. I ought to turn you on my knee and paddle you.
I'll sponge you up.
Oh, mind you, just keep your hands to yourself.
Take it easy, friend. Youngster said he was sorry.
Who asked you to butt in? Mind your own business.
I'm making this my business.
And you're asking for this.
All right, dry yourself up some more, friend. You're still wet. All wet.
Idaho Jones riding Cyclone.
I thought you wanted to see the show.
Well, I was just worrying about Papa.
Well, then go on home and stop worrying.
Dan Carter riding Lightning.
Oh, I will, Annie, right after this event. Meanwhile, would you mind seeing if Papa's around?
All right, Della, but wait right here for me.
Hi. You looking for someone?
Ab Forsyth. Have you seen him?
No, I haven't, Ed. Oh, he looks blacker than 10 weeks of Texas rain.
Is Della here?
She is, and I didn't bring her.
Where is she?
Right where I left her. I'll show you.
Believe me, Della. I wrote every week for months. But then when you never answered,
I believe you, Dan. I believe you wrote. But Papa gets the mail. He must have torn up your letters. I never saw them.
What about that Dan Carter? He's got himself a real looker.
What's past is past. All we're interested in now is the present.
Present and the future.
That's what you're up to. After trying to make trouble.
His real looker's got herself a real ornery old man, if I'm any judge.
Doggone it, let go of me. Behave yourself, will you? Act your age.
Mr. Carney, maybe our luck has changed. Come on.
Please don't stop me.
We saw what happened. We're friends of Dan's. We want to help you.
Since you disapprove of rodeos and the people in them, I suggest you leave.
Della! Della!
Me and Flora will do anything we can.
Come on.
All right, where have you hidden her this time?
I didn't hide her before, Ab, and I didn't hide her this time. You humiliated her, so she probably just slipped away.
She better slip home soon, because I'm holding you responsible.
You see her leave?
No. I wish I had. I'm worried.
So am I. Let's go look for her.
Honestly, there's no reason for you two to get mixed up in this.
Of course there is, hon. Dan's our best friend. All we've ever heard from him is how fond he is of you.
Did he really say that? Honestly?
Never stops talking about you. He even told us what an ornery cuss your father is.
Papa's not ornery. He just can't see anyone's point of view but his own.
I know what you mean. My father was the same way. That's why we understand and want to help you.
But what can you do? I can't hide away in your hotel room forever.
No, but we could help you get to another town if you want.
Sure. And then we can tell Dan, and he can come and get you.
If I was only sure that he would, that he wanted to.
We know he wants to. Look, you think it over. Tucson and I'll go get you something to eat. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Flora, I think we got troubles enough of our own.
Maybe they're over. Did you notice her old man? $40 Stetson. That takes dinero. He looks like real money to me.
Great. So we help his daughter run away, and he just gives us all that money out of gratitude. Hmm? I don't get you, Flora.
Don't even try. Leave the thinking to me. You just string along.
Don't you see, Della? My sister lives in Grjngo, where we play next week. You can stay with her till we get there.
Sure. Me and Flora and Dan. It'll be like you're, well, hidden out waiting for us.
I just can't thank you two enough.
Oh, forget it. Maybe Dan will let me be best man at the wedding. Huh?
Tarnation, Della, your clothes. All you have is what you're wearing. And my sister's twice her size.
Oh, wait a minute. What about the clothes she has at home?
Do you think Papa's going to just give them to you so I can run away?
Maybe he won't have to. Suppose Tucson and I wait till he's asleep. You describe the layout of the rooms to us, and we'll get your clothes anyway.
You can't do that. He keeps the house locked up.
Just to protect your clothes?
Of course not. It's the money he has in the house.
Well, you just tell us where he keeps the money so we don't set off any burglar alarms, and we'll manage to get your clothes somehow.
What if you two should get caught?
Oh, he'll have to run a lot faster than we do. And from what I saw this afternoon, he just ain't in training.
Well, I backtracked every place we were this afternoon.
Beats me, Lofty. Wasn't Dan Carter with you?
Yeah. Poor guy must really be in love with Della. Said something about riding out to her place to see if she got home.
Lofty, Annie, I think I ran onto something.
What?
Well, just as I was almost to Carraway's livery stable, a rig drove up with 2 people in it. A man, that bruiser, shoved me because my lemonade spilled, and a woman.
Is this woman Della?
No, the man's wife, I guess. Well, anyhow, when I asked Mr. Carraway what happened and what they wanted, he said that they asked direction to the Fourth Side Ranch.
Nice work, Tagg. This'll outfit your baseball team for the next 2 years. You wait right here for us.
Okay, sis.
Yes. Put a couple of the girls' things on the floor. Make the old man think she took them. Out the back way.
So you're a thief, too.
Mr. Forsythe, there was a rig outside, and I came in. I thought it might be this pair, Mr. Forsythe. I'd gamble they have your money, and probably your daughter.
Well, once we get them into a private room in my hotel, I got an idea we'll find out a lot. Just think, Annie. If you and Lofty hadn't ridden out, they'd have gotten away.
Let's not leave Tagg out of this. He did some mighty fine detective work.
All I did was to put two and two together.
Well, how about you, Mr. Forsythe, putting one and one together? With a father and a husband, I don't think Della will ever get into trouble.
Well, I gotta admit, I've been saving the 1,500 acres on the east side of my ranch to raise me some grandchildren.
It's not that I'm unappreciative, Mr. Forsythe, but if it's all right with Della, another 6 months with Rodeo, and I'll have enough saved up for our own place.
What? You're turning down $5,000 worth of fine grazing land?
Yes, sir.
I don't mean to be an old I-told-you-so, Mr. Forsythe, but I guess there's some pretty upstanding young men in the rodeo business after all.
Well, I guess if a man's a man, it doesn't make much difference what business he's in. That goes for you, too, young fella. If that fresh-made lemonade business of yours needs a little help, I think maybe I can arrange a small loan.
Tagg doesn't need a loan, Mr. Forsythe, but his baseball team could use a sponsor and some new equipment. Hey, wait a minute. We'd better wait and see if you have enough money after you've paid for the wedding.
Bullseye! Annie Oakley hits the entertainment bullseye every week with her hard riding. Straight shooting. And suspense.
Don't tell me it's the homework that's so fascinating.
It sure is. Miss Hathaway must be softening up. This isn't work. This is fun.
Robin Hood's Adventures. You know, for the past 20 years, everyone she's taught has had to read this. I think it's about time she gave it up.
Gave up Robin Hood?
Oh, I know he was supposed to be highly moral, but he did break laws.
Yeah, unfair laws. Laws the rich people made.
Well, maybe so, but I have yet to see two wrongs that make a right.
Oh, you're just sore because you and Lofty haven't found the Robin Hood kid yet, aren't you?
Well, we haven't caught him yet, Tagg, but we will. And remember this, you can break laws, but eventually the law breaks you.
All he's done really is to warn the big ranchers to leave the homesteaders alone.
But he still isn't helping the homesteaders one bit, Tagg, by tearing down the ranchers' fences and stampeding their stock. Any luck, Lofty?
Yeah, plenty. It's all bad. I talked to almost every homesteader in the county.
And none of them could tell you who the Robin Hood Kid really is?
I know one of them would.
Lofty, don't they realize that the big ranchers are so steamed up there's liable to be a range war?
I told them, Annie. I begged with them, I pleaded with them to wait till the governor's committee gets here before they take any action.
What good can a committee do?
The state will lend them money and help them dig new wells. And then the homesteaders will have their own water and they won't have to depend on the ranchers for anything. They did this 2 years ago in Mesa County.
And they didn't need any Robin Hood Kid.
The bank.
Annie, was anything taken?
You're the teller, Court. You'd better check.
The vault wasn't touched.
Neither was a cash drawer. Oh, Mr. Owen, I'm certainly glad you're here.
Glad. With my bank nearly blown up?
Nothing was taken, Mr. Owen.
Well, that's a relief.
Annie, look!
An arrow, the Robin Hood Kid.
The Robin Hood Kid?
This should convince you your bank can be looted, and it will be unless it helps the homesteaders.
A thing like this would start a run on the bank.
But nothing was taken, Mr. Owen.
One of you better go out there and reassure those people.
Yes, but we run the bank. Would they believe what we told them?
Well, why don't you do it, Annie?
Go on. I'll help them straighten things up here.
Everything's all right, folks. We've all checked the bank and nothing's missing. Apparently, this was just another gesture with the Robin Hood Kid, but not a cent was taken. So if you'll all go on home, the bank will be open again tomorrow morning as usual.
Hello, Pat.
Dad, what are you doing in town today?
Need some cash.
Why do you suddenly need 3,000?
If you'd stayed on the ranch where you belong, you'd know why.
Dad, let's not go into that argument again. Just because I went to college and prefer banking to ranching.
Just give me the money and there'll be no argument.
How's it going to look after what happened here yesterday? The teller's father drawing out his money.
I don't care how it looks. It's my money, son, and don't you forget it.
In that case, perhaps you'd feel happier drawing out the entire account.
Maybe I would. Get me the full amount of my deposit while I write out a new check.
Oh, Mr. Donnelly.
Hiya, Pat. Something we can do for you?
You bet there is. I want an escort out to my place.
Escort?
You ain't caught that Robin Hood Kid yet, have you?
No.
All right, I want an escort. I got $27,000 right here, and I'm making sure it gets home safe.
Look, Mr. Donnelly, your money is none of my business, but having that much around the house is...
I know what I'm doing. I'm a taxpayer, and a big taxpayer. All I want from you is the protection I'm entitled to.
All right, Pat.
That's more like it.
Well, Pat, so far, so good.
Yeah, and I reckon I owe you an apology for barking at you like it did.
That's all right. We're used to barking taxpayers by now.
I bet you are. It's getting late, Miss Annie. You two better get on back to town.
Well, we've seen you this far. We might as well see you safe inside.
Oh, you've done enough already for a dissatisfied taxpayer. Go on, it's all right.
All right. Bye, Pat. Lofty. I'll see if Pat's all right.
Howdy, Deputy.
Hello, Gabe. Gal. Didn't a man ride up here just now?
Man? Right up here?
Yeah, a man. A man wearing a hooded mask.
Reckon he means the Robin Hood kid, Paul?
I didn't come up here to play games.
And where do you figure you're going?
Going inside to find him.
Better not, Deputy, without a search warrant.
By the time I got one, where do you think you'd be?
Paul says go get a warrant.
You ought to thank me, Mr. Upton, for saving you from a murder charge.
No one searches my house without a warrant.
How's Pat, Annie?
He's all right now.
The money?
It's gone. All $27,000.
Serving blame right, if you ask me.
All I'm asking you is to let me go inside.
He just told us, Lofty. He won't let us in without a warrant.
You've done enough damage. Now think you to get out of here.
We're going. But just remember one thing. Even though the Robin Hood kid tries to help you, there's only one thing he can do, and that is to get you in trouble. Come on, Lofty.
Gosh, Annie, you saw his hood and cape and everything.
Tagg, when are you going to stop thinking of him as a hero? He stole every dollar Mr. Donnelly had.
And every rancher knows it. And they're plenty mad. I called a meeting for tonight.
I just hope they don't try to take things into their own hands.
We only had some idea who this Robin Hood kid might be.
I bet you I know. That nester, Cal Upton.
I doubt it, Tagg. He hasn't had enough education to write a note like the one you found at the bank.
Yeah, and he never went to Miss Hathaway's school and had Robin Hood drilled into him as a hero.
No. But we know someone who did.
Who's that, Annie?
Lofty, I know this sounds crazy, but whoever was laying for Pat knew he had the money on him.
Naturally. Annie, you don't mean Court, not his own kid.
Why not? Court's never made any bones about his feelings since the ranchers have refused to let the homesteaders use their water, has he?
That's right. That's why he left his father's ranch and moved to town.
Ever since he came back from college, all he ever talks about is what he calls the underdog.
Yeah. But we're only guessing, Lofty. Tagg, you going over to the bank and ask Court to stop by here later.
All right, Annie. Gosh, I feel like a real Sherlock Holmes.
Tell Lofty I'll drop over right after the bank closes.
Well, all right.
Mr. Owen, I have a little business down the street. Would you mind closing up for me today?
Oh, not at all. Go ahead, Court.
Oh, you better check that back door. The lock has been sticking. Both out of your minds?
You admit that no one else could have known your father drew out all that money.
Well, of course I admit it. But I certainly wouldn't advertise the fact that my father thought more of his money than he does of the bank, the reputation of his own son.
Court, ever since I can remember, you've always been ashamed of the fact that your father had money and had made a success.
That depends on what you mean by success, doesn't it?
Well, even back when you were in school, you had a reputation for being a soft touch for any hard luck story, always trying to do the right thing. Well, for your information, there are a lot of other people that are trying to do the right thing, too, but in an orderly fashion.
Well, I'm glad to find out what you'd take me for. Are you through?
I'm not.
You can't hold me here. I know my rights.
Look, Court, we've all made mistakes. If you are the Robin Hood kid, admit it now before it's too late.
Would you like to prove I am? Convince a jury you identified a man through a hooded mask?
Now, because of it, anybody can put on a hood and commit all sorts of crimes. And the Robin Hood kid will be blamed for it.
Well, if that isn't the most far-fetched piece of...
Robin Hood kid got away.
How bad is he, Annie?
He'll be all right, Court. Lofty and I owe you an apology.
Never mind that. I'll go for the doctor.
Lofty, get that cushion off the chair.
I'll be all right. Maybe it can still overtake the Robin Hood kid.
Mr. Owen's been shot, so a couple of you better stay with him. Court's already gone for the doctor. Let's start at Gabe Upton's.
Reckon there's someone after him again, Paul. You better get inside. Two bags. Your Paul must be made of money.
Hey, Upton! We're not even gonna have any trouble with you and Cal.
If the Robin Hood kid's in there, it's him we're after.
Another minute and they'll be in here. I'm getting out through the tunnel.
What tunnel?
Well, the tunnel. You ain't Court.
What are you, loco, an idiot?
Lofty, did you hear those shots?
Yeah,
They're not aiming at us. There's something funny going on.
I think you're right, Annie. I'm gonna rush the place.
nerve right, Deputy. That Robin Hood fella's a vicious coyote.
Drop it.
Who are you? Mister, you sure ain't gonna find out yet. Now turn around. All right, Donnelly, we're getting out of here. On your horse. Get up there. Turn your horse around so your back's towards me. You'd better, Deputy. Now get down. Yeah. I'm all right, Lofty.
Nice work, Annie. All right, come on, get up.
Was the Robin Hood kid act your own idea, Court? Or did the Uptons put you up to it?
Well, I talked them into it after I found out about their tunnel. Mrs. Hathaway always made Robin Hood sound so romantic.
Pat, why did you draw all that money out in the first place?
Well, I thought if we helped the homesteaders a little, 3,000 maybe, it'd quiet them down and we'd stop the range war.
Then when he drew it all out, I became worried about it, so I took it away from him for safekeeping.
You weren't too gentle about it either, son.
I'm sorry, Dad.
Well, it's safe now. Martin Owen told me that you redeposited the whole amount to your father's account on the very same day.
At least I did one thing right. And I learned my lesson, too. In a democracy, people have to work together to solve their problems. One man can't take it upon himself and do it his way.
I guess that's what Robin Hood wanted the people to learn in the old days.
Well, the old days are gone. So let's all get together and form a committee to get Miss Hathaway to quit using Robin Hood and start using Pilgrim's Progress.